What's good? It's your boy Fanon. Today I'm going to talk about the meaning of the KSI versus Paul Logan. If I get his name wrong, forgive me. Boxing match on YouTube that might have had up to 1 million or over 1 million pay-per-view buys. And what that means for boxing. Now, before I do that, I want to thank all the subscribers for tuning in. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos and when we have the live streams. And thank you to everybody that supports the channel on Patreon, Venmo, and the super chats and the live streams. And once again, I do want to remind that 78 Sports TV will be coming back to his live stream in October. So please keep your eyes out for that, his first live stream. We're going to have a special challenge, super chat challenge. I'm going to try to my best to refer to that in all the videos that I do until then, but I'm sure sometimes I'll slip. So anyway, let's move on to KSI Paul Logan. Absolute crap. Didn't pay for it, didn't watch it, didn't care about it. Didn't do any videos about it. Knew it was going to be tremendously successful. And honestly, I did not. And I was waiting for somebody to, on my comment, it didn't, in my comment section, it hasn't come along fast enough. But once they start pushing out the numbers for these things, I'm quite sure that, people are going to be surprised that people will use those numbers to criticize real boxers and talk about how somehow that because two YouTube guys who are known by a lot of people decide to put on some headgear, get in the ring and slap each other around and charge people to watch them, that somehow has some reflection on the sport of boxing and the popularity of the sport of boxing. And to me, it does not. But it does teach a very, very important lesson, in my opinion, is that how many pay-per-view buys you get does not mean that you put on a quality performance, and that it is something that is more valuable than a fight that didn't do any pay-per-view. For example, there was no pay-per-view for the fight between Jaime Munguia and Saddam Ali. None. It was on regular HBO. You didn't have to pay anything extra for it. And you get to see a new, very, 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 very talented boxer, or a new, he's not new. He's been pro for a couple years, but an emerging young fighter with a tremendous amount of talent who has a very, very bright future, provided he can put everything together. And you got to see him dominate in spectacular fashion and have a really exciting time doing it if you're a boxing fan. That was a high quality fight for what I paid for, which was absolutely nothing. And if you compare that fight to Logan Paul and KSI, and you're a boxing fan, you got much more value out of the Munguia fight than you got out of KSI versus Logan. Definitely true if you've ever watched a Vasyl Lomachenko fight. Vasyl Lomachenko has never been on pay-per-view. I don't think yet that he might have been on ESPN Plus, but maybe. I think that was regular ESPN that he did his last fight on, but maybe it was ESPN Plus, but he's never been on pay-per-view. You've never had to pay $7, $10 to watch Vasyl Lomachenko fight. You've never had to do that for Errol Spence Jr. to date. You've never had to pay $10 on an individual time to watch Terrence Crawford fight. All of these fighters, there's guys in the 120 pound, 120, 122, 100. You're never going to have to pay pay-per-view, at least in a main event, to see anybody under 130 pounds fight. Because all the that's dang near half the divisions in boxing that you never have to worry about that. But every single boxing match that has occurred this year, professional boxing match on any of these cards, whether it's Sky Sports, BT, Box Nation, ESPN, Showtime, HBO, ESPN Plus, Fox Sports 1, all of these things were higher quality fights for less money than KSI versus Paul Logan. So what that should tell you is that the people that try to equate, now that's an obvious example of it, because everybody that's a real boxing fan knows that that's not boxing. They have headgear on. Neither one of those guys know what they're doing. And it's just it's a comedy. It's just, all it is, I don't know, man, there might have been more teenage girls watching that. Like, I don't even know who would have paid for that, right? I don't think my kids even mentioned that garbage. But still, if you take that rationale and I said to you, oh man, KSI is a way bigger boxing star than Dillian White is. He's a way bigger star than Dillian White. Because look, he got 1 million pay-per-views. He's a bigger star, obviously. Oh, who's going to win, Dillian White or Paul Logan? Oh man, it's definitely going to be Paul Logan. Look at all the pay-per-view buys he has. Now, see, if I point that out to you when you're talking about Dillian White, or to anybody, when I'm talking about Dillian White and Paul Logan, you will immediately come and understand what I'm talking about. But when it comes to boxing, when you compare real boxing matches, somehow people lose track of that concept. That just because Tony Bellew and David Haye were fought on pay-per-view, just because they made good money on pay-per-view, doesn't mean that that's as high quality of a fight as Deontay Wilder, Luis Ortiz. Clearly, Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz is the more value fight, and even if they charge the same amount of money for it. But getting caught up into how much money you paid for something, and then automatically associating that with a bigger value or more beer, or the guys, or popularity with more value. In the long run, I think that takes away from boxing, because it is a disincentive to providing quality. Because as long as we say that the more it sells, the more quality it is, and the more we want that, then the more you're going to have people selling fights that are mismatches. That you have, for example, the ESPN Plus fight card last weekend. It was mismatches from the top to the bottom. Well, the only one that was not a mismatch was the top card. Was the Ray Beltran versus Jose Pedraza. That was the only fight on that card that I saw that was not a mismatch. Even the woman, the girl that fought, the lady that fought, Michaela, I can't remember her last name is, versus who she fought, that was a ridiculous mismatch. You see, there's gigantic size difference between she and the young lady that she was fighting. The tremendous size disadvantage, mismatch, skill mismatch. It was ridiculous. Isaac Dogbay. I like Isaac Dogbay, but that was a ridiculous mismatch. That was a shot fighter he was in there with. It was a shot fighter. And yeah, you got some thrills, right? You got some thrills. Because the dude he hurt him with everything he landed. Now, while I did say that Munguia versus Saddam Ali was a higher quality fight than Paul Logan and what is it? I'll keep wanting to call this dude Rand Paul, but Paul Logan and KSI, Jaime Munguia fight versus Saddam Ali. That was a ridiculous mismatch. But I mean, not but so as a result, if people keep as long as you attach that, have that general mentality, that's what we'll continue to get. And that's why we get that. And you get this conversation about high risk, low reward. So the only time somebody's going to really fight somebody that's really, really, really good is if they absolutely don't have any choice, or they make so much money, right, that they jack the price up on fight fans so high that, you know, it doesn't matter because, hey, man, they don't have to fight. They might not have to fight again after that. But if we could have fights on the other hand, if at least this is not going to happen, by the way, because I think the ship has sailed on this. But if we could consistently get, and matter of fact, we did get this. We were getting this out of the PBC on a more regular basis on fight, not every fight card, but the fight card that stands out to me where this was the case, where it was the case that everything was quality. Every fight was a quality fight. Was the 154-pound matchup on Showtime where Jermell Charlo fought Erickson Lubin. Lara fought Goshaw, and Trout fought Jared Hurd. All of those were quality fights. The last one with Lara versus Goshaw was a bit of a snoozer, I will admit, but those were all quality cards. And nobody's really crying to get a card like that together again, or even looking for it. What we're looking for is see, okay, how many more networks can we get? Can we get another? Can we get a DAZN? We get an ESPN Plus? No, yeah, this is the biggest excitement. One of the biggest things people are excited about with Showtime is that Showtime is going to give us a pay-per-view. Like, oh yeah, Deontay Wilder's and Tyson Fury is going to be on pay-per-view. We're just taught. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a fight I'm looking forward to, and I'm happy that Deontay Wilder get a big payday. But the only reason that people would really be excited about the fact that it's on pay-per-view is that it's on pay-per-view, not that it's happening, but that it's on pay-per-view, is because other people, then you'll be able to say, look how much money Deontay Wilder made. Deontay Wilder made more money than Anthony Joshua did because he sold 700,000 pay-per-views at $50 at $50 a head. They did. So they wind up doing, it was $100 million fight. And he made $50 million off the $100 million fight. So now he's made more money than Anthony Joshua. And I got bragging rights and because I'm able to say that Deontay Wilder made the biggest payday. But that doesn't have anything to do with whether or not Deontay Wilder is the best fighter or not. The only way that can be proven between Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder is if they get in the ring and fight each other. And that could come, and that's the value that I'm looking for. But as long as we have the Logan, even a stepchild of the Logan, Paul Logan KSI mentality, we're going to be a far away from getting that. You know what I mean? But anyway, it is what it is. And with that, I'm out. Peace.